Henry.
Hi, Matt. Nice to hear you.
Terrific to speak to you as well. I hear this of your career. This has been about the most prolific week for interviews and journalists coming to see you. You've literally been booked up every day.
Well, I think it's mainly sort of one's trying to promote racing and Ascot, it's been the 300th year and it's exciting. And I think we're all trying to make it sort of more interesting for people.
And it's exciting for us having Cecil with a 1-3 winner next week. Henry, I don't know if you heard my intro a little earlier, but do you know how many Ascot winners you've had?
No, I'm not quite sure. I think it's 70-something, isn't it?
72 Royal Ascot winners. It's incredible, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I've been lying around for a long time, haven't I?
Well, not that long. I mean, crikey, 72. And it is a sort of dream to try and get to 100, which means we need a few to go in next week.
We'd like to, it'd be nice to have one. I mean, one or two, wouldn't it? It's very hard, Ascot, to win at Ascot, and you've got to have they've got the best horse, and you've got some of the best horses in the world running. It's not easy, but it's a challenge, and let's see what we can do.
Do you remember Greville Starkey winning on Parthenon in the Queen Alexandra Stakes in 1970?
I do. I felt fantastic after that. I thought I'd almost won the Derby.
Well, you had. I mean, it was a massive race that day. And of all your other Royal Ascot winners, Henry, is the one that sticks out? I mean, Ardros, I suppose, was great stare. Le Mans, a great stare. Which was your favourite?
I've always loved the Ascot Gold Cup, and it's all. I'm all sad at the moment I haven't got a cup horse. But it is a lovely race to win, and I was very lucky. I had the two Ardros and Le Mans. They both won a couple each, and then Pierre won for Lord Howard Warden, and I've had a second or two as well. I've been very lucky, but I'd love to have another one.
Well, I mean, it's about time. Obviously, we were slightly hoping Manifest at the start of the season, but I don't think he's a real 2.5 miler from what you were saying.
And I'm afraid he got a leg and everything, and that was finished. Yeah.
Well, the message is out there. Someone send Henry a top-class stare and he'll win you the Ascot Gold Cup. That's the message, isn't it?
Well, it would be nice if they'd think that way.
Henry, we've got to really just get into one horse straight away because, in a way, Ascot evolves around one horse for a lot of people, and that is Frankel in the St James's Palace Stakes. Let's start with simple questions. How is he since the 2000 Guineas?
I'm very pleased with him, and I think he's growing up and he's relaxing more. He's quite a hypo horse. He's got that very long stride. So when you're setting him in behind a horse, he's got that long stride. You're having to take a little bit of a pull on him. But I mean, he is actually. I think he's beginning to sort of relax much more, and I'm very happy with him. And hopefully, I've got him as right as possible to get a horse right for a race like that. Yeah?
We've heard all these sort of stories that the work rider needs the strongest arms on earth to hold him and everything. We don't know whether all that is true or sort of journalistic license. I mean, have you deliberately tried to train him in a way to cut out that early exuberance?
No. I mean, I've taught him. I've tried to get him to just relax. I mean, I have no intention of trying to do what I did at Newmarket with him. I don't think a horse can go on doing that sort of thing. So it's important he does relax in his field. Yeah?
So there's no aim, there's no sort of plan. You're not thinking, right, we're just going to blast out and try and win this after 4 furlongs, sort of thing.
I've got a plan. Obviously, I've got a plan. I'm trying to work out what I want to do. It's not always easy to do what you want to do because it depends what the rest of the field are doing. But I think it'll be we'll have different tactics this time, and hopefully it'll work. I mean, the main thing about him is so far, he's unbeaten. He's an exciting horse, and and he's obviously a very good horse. I mean, I'd love him to continue being sort of a champion because I think it's so good for racing. I mean, racing needs, a Sea of the Stars or a Mill Reef or a horse of that nature, or going back jumping an arc, or I think it lifts the whole industry up, and people who are not really sort of involved in racing begin to sort of catch on and show interest. Yeah?
And as far as Frankel is concerned, I mean, he obviously is a bit of a challenge. Is he, in a way, could you say he's the most challenging horse you've almost trained with a horse of that ability? Does he provide you with something to think about every moment of the day?
Well, he's more complicated than some horses, isn't he? Yeah, he is complicated, definitely.
In what ways, Henry?
Well, he is slightly slightly. I mean, he's very sensible in most ways, but I mean, he does want to get on with things, and you've just got to sort of switch off a little bit, and so one has to take it very carefully. When you have a horse of that caliber, you've got to, you've got to put a lot into it to get it to do things right, and it's always sort of every day is a sort of what horses are like, how they can go wrong, and this sort of thing is keeping him right and dreading something happening. It makes you sort of slightly sort of on your tenterhook. But so far everything's going well, and he's a lovely horse to train and everything. And I just hope he'll go on, and continue doing as well as he's been doing.
What your plan of the Greenham and then to the Guineas became more obvious to us in the outside world once we saw the difference in the horse from the Guineas to the Greenham. And is there any chance, Henry, that what you see at home, he's even better now than he was Guineas Day?
Well, I think he's strong. I think he's stronger, and he's done very well physically. The Greenham was a trial to get him out after a long winter and everything, and I knew that he was going to improve a lot from that. And of course, the way he ran, we won the Guineas. I mean, obviously wasn't ideal for any horse really. So we had to get over that, make sure that we hadn't sort of burnt the cake. And so I've had to bring him back very sort of quietly and gently and everything. And we've got to be careful with him because he does, he's got that long stride, and he does gets himself fit more than the lazy idle horse. I mean, that's quicker. So you've got to sort of time it. I always like to sort of be one or two gallops in advance. I don't like trying to catch a train, so I've tried to get him there, and I think I've got him there last week. So I'm sort of pulling him back a bit. I don't want him to get on top of him. I mean, we just have to feel. I think it's common sense, really. I think it has to be, really. It's more common sense and sort of understanding him and sort of feeling one's way, and sort of watching him closely, I think.
Obviously, he's had prelims prior to the 2000 Guineas, but Ascot is a slightly different type of atmosphere with all the colour and the hoi polloi. Is that of any worry to you, the build-up to the race?
Not really. I mean, he probably, because he is slightly very slightly highly strung, he may sweat a little bit between his back legs. I remember John Frankel was saying that he never liked that. Well, I don't like that, but I mean, he does it. And his brother does it too, actually. I've got his full brother, he does it. And but he doesn't sort of break out in a horrible sweat or anything like that. I mean, he's actually quite hot-blooded because, I mean, when horses here have rugs on, he doesn't. I mean, he has a sheet on because he does actually get quite warm at night. I mean, we have him on camera, and when we thought it was cold and we had a rug on him, trying to pull the rug over his head, which is quite dangerous. You wouldn't know what's going to happen. So, at 10 o'clock at night, we used to have to sort of take the rug off and put a sheet on, or something.
Would he have two handlers in the paddock?
No, I don't like that. I mean, there's somebody else there, but I mean, he's not. He walks around pretty very sensibly. You've seen him, haven't you?
Yeah. But
everybody's trying to make him into some sort of monster and sort of highly strung horse. He's not really. He's just he wants to get on with it and everything. But the main thing is, you've got to sort of grow up and relax a bit, so you're doing the right thing, the right time in the race.
So it's also...
I mean, it's a very... I mean, you've always got to be, in any race like that, you go into Group 1, you've got to respect the opposition. I mean, Parker Botty's horse won very nicely. He's improved from when I beat him at Newbury. Richard Hannon's horse, I thought was unlucky in Ireland, ran a regular race for Guineas. The Japanese horse, I mean, I haven't seen it, but apparently it's a big, powerful horse, and the horse he beat last time has just won a Group 1. I mean, it's not, it's not going to be easy. I'd love to see him win. I'd love to see him carry on, but I mean, there isn't such a thing as a certainty. I would be disappointed if he doesn't. But I mean, I've been disappointed many times in my life before. You know?
The international handicappers making the joint top-rated horse in the world, Henry. Not just in the UK or Europe, the world. You have in your stable the best animal in the world.
Thanks.
Well, you do.
Thanks for sort of getting me sort of on edge.
Well, you know, it's exciting. I mean, your
Okay,
joint.
then we'll do our best. But I mean, as you know, Matt, there's not such a thing as a certainty, is there?
No, although I did say that to Martin Pike once, and he just looked at me and laughed.
Well, there isn't. You know, I've had favourites beaten and been quite disappointed, of course. But I mean, I'm very happy with him at the moment, and I hope that I'd love it if he won and won really well. I'd love it if he did or does. And I still think it's, you know, as I said before, repeating myself, but it's very good for racing to have champions. You know, because champions sort of add a lot more interest to people. You know, I mean, if you go to Windsor evening or Kempton evening, let's say Kempton evening, and you know, you've just got 12 horses running for a 0 to 60 handicap. I mean, it's a question of you know, you don't get the excitement and everything that you do with good horses. And you know, of course, in the north they love it. You know, at York, I mean, they're not worried about the handicaps. I mean, they may be on something like the Ebor, but on the whole, they love to see good horses. You know?
Yeah.
And whether they're really racing people or not, but they like to see champions. And I think it's important in racing to have a champion, because you take something like Wimbledon, right? I mean, I watch Wimbledon, but I am a lot of people are not that interested in tennis. But if we have an Andy Murray, it gives the country an interest, you know, in Wimbledon, which you know they wouldn't have otherwise. You know?
Yeah. Luckily, you're training Federer rather than Andy Murray, which gives you a chance, I guess.
Well, you said it. You said it.
Henry, hopefully the rest of the meeting you can be put at ease after Frankel's fingers crossed gone in. But you've got other runners throughout the week, and we must give Twice Over a mention in the Prince of Wales's stakes. Obviously, arguably unlucky 12 months ago against Byword, but you've got a good horse to take on in So You Think.
Yeah, I mean he's very well Twice Over, and I know that, you know, they're talking about the Australian or New Zealand horse. I mean, he's obviously very good.
Irish horse, Henry. Now
Irish horse, but no, actually, it says what's it called?
So You Think.
Yeah, I do think New Zealand, right?
Yeah.
He's obviously very good, but I'm looking forward to actually running against him. I mean, you know, I think our horse is in great form, and you know, he's a good horse. And hopefully I'll be able to give him a race. I'm not saying I'm going to beat him, but I'd love to be able to give him a race.
Two horses I really wanted to discuss, which you have both in the King Edward VII Stakes, World Domination, Solar Sky. You've got other entries in there as well.
Yeah.
What might you run in what they call the Royal Ascot Derby?
Well, the Royal Ascot Derby. Because the Royal Ascot Derby, I mean, the Ascot is a fantastic week's racing, and you get the best. Of course, in the 2 mile and a half 3-year races, sometimes you get the second 11. Because you know, it is very soon after Epsom. You know, the King Edward, the mile and a half for the Colts, and the Ribsdale for the fillies. Hopefully this year that we're going to see some quality. I mean, World Domination. Hopefully, as long as he works well tomorrow morning, he could run. And I might run Glen Callum Gold, who's an improving horse, very tough. Haven't got to the bottom of him at all.
Right.
I might run him. I mean, he won at Newmarket well. He's working well. Maybe the other alternative would be the King's Court, the 5th handicap. But you get a bigger field, and he's a bit of a baby. I'd rather have a slightly smaller field. So he may take his chance as well.
And World Domination, Henry, I mean, the race at York, really nothing went right. The pace was rubbish as far as World Domination was concerned. Do we still keep the faith in him?
Yes, I mean, he's quite immature horse. You know, I had that setback, and he sort of no excuses. I mean, he wasn't really ready to win the Dante Stakes. And I think he's going to be a horse who progress. And I mean, he could be a lovely ledger horse, or if he gets that trip, or even a really good middle distance horse, you know, as the year goes on, and next year. I mean, he is quite a baby, but hopefully, if he works well tomorrow, you know, he wants the education, and hopefully he may go there with a chance. And
Arizona Jewel, would she run in the Ribblesdale?
Yes, I think so. I mean, she just likes a good gallop. I mean, I thought she'd run very well in the Musadora, but she was dead in season, and lot of the time with my fillies, it doesn't really bother them, but it seems to bother her like anything. I think it's rather slightly immature and rather like a young girl. At that age, it can affect them. When you get those old mares, they sometimes don't bother to come into season at all until they get to stud.
Well, yeah, don't tell me about it. But yeah. So again, because she and World Domination were very much sort of talking horses, Henry. In the outside world, we were all thinking these are going to be the great Cecil horses for this season. And
well, I think they will. I think one day, hopefully, they're going to sort of prove that they are more than useful. But I mean, they are immature, and it's just taking time. And they're just taking their time to come, and hopefully they're going to run really well at Ascot. And the other horse you were talking about, Solar Sky.
Oh, I like him.
He'll probably go for the Vase.
Right.
He stays well, and over that distance, I mean, he really lengthens. The mile and a half in top company, just the moment, maybe a little bit too much for him.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather go easier with him. He'd be happier going 2 miles and gradually getting to his stride, and I mean, he could run well.
I really like him. I thought it was a great run against World Domination first time. And by Galileo out of a Law Society mare, he's just bred to stay, isn't he?
Yeah, and I think he looks like a stayer because last time we ran him, because he was going, I think it was Haydock, I think, his maiden, he was going so easily that Tom really thought you just have to give him a little bit of rein, but of course they went very slowly and they sprinted, and of course it took him a little bit of time to get into that stride. Yeah?
Midday was in the Hardwick, but I believe now all systems go for the Stobart Island Pretty Polly Stakes. And I imagine once the Irish hear Midday's heading there, they'll be looking for other races for their horses, because she'll take all the beating over there.
Well, I mean, she's come out of it very well. I mean, she really is well. I mean, hindsight, if you were to run the race again at Epsom, we would sit on her longer. But I mean, as a brown horse didn't come down the hill very well, and we were going very well, we went for home. I think if we'd sat on longer, we'd been closer. But she was in front 3 furlongs.
Yeah.
She's come out of it very well. She seems very tough this year and stronger. Normally, I would have put her away by now and waited for the Nassau and the Yorkshire Oaks, the Vermeer, and all those races later on in the year. As I'm just getting her to a peak, she's coming to a peak. I don't want to stop her just quite yet. So I thought, let her go for the Pretty Polly, and then she can have a little bit break before Goodwood, you see. When you've got her almost coming absolutely right, to stop her, give her a rest, and start over again, doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, brilliant. So
she is very well. I mean, Snow Fairy will probably run, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, no, it will give us
We'll have the a mile and quarter sort of contest between the two of us, because I mean, we've met a few times last year.
I would argue, Henry, let's have an argument. I would argue that Midday, I think a mile and 3 is her perfect trip, but I almost prefer her at a mile and a quarter to a mile and a half.
Yeah, I mean, she gets a mile and a half, but I mean, I think actually now she's stronger and more professional. I mean, she's fine at a mile and a quarter. Either really. I mean, mile 3 would be perfect, but I mean, you'll have to sort of, we haven't got very many mile 3 races, so unless you can sponsor yourself, I know you make an awful lot of money doing the job you're doing. We'll have to stick to either mile and a quarter, mile and a half.
Yeah. I think we may have to wait another year for that. And Henry, you'll have a few handicappers next week. Historically, we've always looked out for the handicappers. Let's not forget, of course, Timepiece recently. All sorts of winners in the handicap. Give us one for Ascot in the handicaps.
Well, I haven't got very much in the handicap. I've got
Plato.
Plato. Hopefully, he gets in. He's in the Ascot Stakes. But I mean, I think we've got 9, 10 to come out before he gets in. Yeah?
Right.
And then a lot jockeyed up. He'll run very well if he gets win, but he'll run very well. I've got picture editors coming to self next to give him the ground, and he's in the King George V handicap. Otherwise, I'm mainly sort of in the
big ones.
Well, in the condition races. I mean, of course, like Midsummer Sun, who's the brother to half brother to Midday. I mean, he's in the mile and a quarter, which used to be the Hampton Court.
Yeah.
Chakamady. She's very well. She goes for the Royal filly mile race. Yeah?
Windsor Forest and Jacqueline Quest in there as well.
Yeah, Jacqueline's question, she's coming. I mean, she's just beginning to come to herself a little bit, and I think the owner would like to take his chance.
Well, Henry, 72 Royal Ascot winners. I don't think there's a single viewer watching this programme right now or watching this on a replay later on today that won't wish you to have 73 at least with Frankel next week. So,
well, be very kind. But are you going to be there at Ascot?
Well,
or are you going to be at Carlisle?
Carlisle, unfortunately, we don't have the rights to, and as you know, I'm best confined to a very small space. But look, we'll all be cheering on for Frankel on Tuesday, and fingers crossed he can do what we saw in the Guineas day, because that was just something else.
Well, we'll do our best. And thank you very much for bothering to talk to me.
Well, look, you're ridiculous sometimes. Thank you.
I've always been ridiculous. You told me that before.
I know, but I mean, it's...
Mind you, actually, you can be as well.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm meant to thank you at this stage. You're not meant to thank me.
Am I? Right.
Otherwise, you'll be on every day. We'll book you in every day.
I'll remember next time.
No, look, absolutely terrific, Henry. And let's hope 73 comes up next week and we're rocking and rolling towards that 100 Royal Ascot winners, which would be something else.
And we hope to see you at Ascot and be good.
Yeah,
and try and be good.
Yeah, so we don't clash, Henry. What colours are you wearing on Tuesday?
I haven't decided yet. I have, but I worked it out, but I'm not quite sure which day I'm going to wear what. What about you?
Well, I reckon you're going to go blue shirt, and funny enough, although I am blue shirt, blue and white, it's slightly because I think you've worn that every time Frankel's run this season.
Oh, have I? Right. I remember that.
Yeah, it's a sort of flowery blue and white tie with a dark bluish shirt.
God, you really actually do study me, don't you?
Well, I don't study you as such.
It's a little bit worrying, really.
On that bombshell,
I'm going to need a bodyguard, I think.
Well, yeah, okay. I'll stop stalking. Right, look, Henry, thank you very much for your time today. Terrific.
Pleasure.